Hi, so my name is Rose, and I'm a player from Project Artemis, and I'm here to tell you the best placing list from Champions League Aichi, the most recent one that just happened. Um, Something to note about this meta is quite wide, so there's a lot of very good, different, interesting decks in top 16. I'm going to be going from 16th place to the very climactic first place. But whenever we notice a list with similarities in it, I will go back, just compare list differences, just stuff like that. I'm going to start off with a tier list going into the event supplied by Pokemeshi, or Pokekameshi. Thank you so much for that. It had Raging Bolt way incredibly high in first place in tier 1. As you can see, Gardevoir tier 2, Dragapult tier 2, Charizard surprisingly tier 2, but a lot of stuff you would just like very much expect. Not many new decks, but the old decks got a lot of buffs, I will say that. The lists are not looking the same anymore. This is pretty close to our NAIC meta. I think the only change is no Psyduck, which is actually a pretty big change. So just take it with a grain of salt that like the lack of Dusknoir around kind of like impacts the decks around, because Dusknoir was not seen at this event. Right now in our current meta, Dusknoir isn't doing the hottest. Straight puts everywhere, Charizard's nowhere to be seen, apart from like the recent top 32, so yeah, just keep that in mind, but the meta should be looking pretty close to what we have for NAIC, so yeah, let's jump into it. So, jumping right into top 16, we have Woes, an old Japanese classic. This list was made by Denson. Not much has changed from the last iteration of Woes. While this deck hasn't been seeing success in the West, presumably due to like the Japanese best of one factor, you can like cheese wins much easier. Woes does fantastic in that meta. Something very interesting to note here is there is a fan Rotom. I'm honestly not too sure about the inclusion of this card. Getting out all your draft rig all at once doesn't seem that amazing. Like in most matchups, you're making one for a draft and they literally can't play past that. I was thinking it could be like an okay attacker maybe. But you don't play 2 stadiums, so I don't even know about that. Definitely something worth testing, worth looking at, but maybe not including. Going past that, I think it was a really good call by the amount of Raging Bolt and Charizard and Dragapult going this weekend. I think this deck has an incredible matchup into all of them. Of course with Milotic, with the Girafarig. Something notable is this has got an abysmal Gardevoir matchup, abysmal Magnus Grimmsnarl. I'm guessing that's one of the 2 decks that knocked this deck out of top 16. Maybe it wasn't the best meta code just because you have no answer to like such like prominent decks. But if you plan to dodge them, then you're gonna go farm a tournament. Next, we have an Eevee box made by Black on Twitter, also made top 16. Something I love about this list, an incredible call I think, is this Leafeon card. So it has no Sylveon, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, just because Angelite is such an incredible attack. Like, Angelite is just like absurd. Leafeon provides something very different. It provides a way to one-shot so many cards in the format right now. You can one-shot Slightly Swallows Ahead, Gardevoir, because they have like all the energy on board with the Monkey Dory. Even attacking with Gardevoir, they probably have 6 energies on board for like Monkey Dory attachments. Magnus Grimmsnarl, due to the grass type weakness, and importantly, Charizard. While this deck does play Black Spells Trading to hit that crucial 320 with Flareon's second attack, for decks like Dragapult, Gardevoir, there's no way fitting that 330, which is where the Leafeon comes in absolutely clutch. Don't think we're ever going to be using the second attack that much, probably mostly for the first attack. But yeah, very cool card in this list. A card I like a lot. You can just like make it out of nowhere with just like Sparkling Crystal grass attachment, which is pretty cool. Definitely a card you should consider going into NAIC. Not much else in this list. We see the Brock Scouting that's become the norm in Noctowl decks, even in this current meta. I guess Mew-X is kind of interesting, but I don't think it's that good. And of course the Black Belt's Training, which is just good for hitting some of those crucial damage numbers. Going into the next deck, we have one of my favourites of all time, Gardevoir. This is a very cool list. Started off, play this new Shaman card. This Shaman card is so format impacting, one of the most format impacting cards of a new set. When I first read, I thought it was much worse than it actually was. I thought it just like protected against like Pokemon Wellspring and nothing else. No, what it does is it protects all your Pokemon that row boxes from all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not your opponent's Roblox Pokemon, all of your opponent's Pokemon. Protecting against Raging Bolt, opposing Screamtails, definitely a card to keep in your list, even if there's like no Pokemon Wellsprings running around, just because like being like protection from those two cards is so good. It probably makes Mirror a bit more boring, but we can move past that. With this list, there's a Listicle Fairy, which is interesting. Of course, it means Dragapult can only take one prize if they're attacking you. Don't think it's going to be too good in this format. Just because it's like a troll card that's very niche. Does play the Evo, a card I very, very much like in Gardevoir right now. Evo has like so many good applications. Something I don't like about Gardevoir list right now, which you may see in future tournaments from me, is it doesn't really have a way to like easily find evolutions under Bidoof. Evo solves all of that. Fantastic card right now, I feel. With the Arvin, the Researcher's Iono, Secret Box, you can just find it so easily, even with only one copy. Definitely very cool from there. Still on 3 Dory. Seems okay. I've never been that big a fan of 3 Dory and 2 Screamtail. I think if you want to have a Gardevoir list, this is a good starting point. Maybe cut the Lily's Pearl, 2nd Screamtail, 3rd Dory, put in some more consistency. And this is a good direction to start off in. Next, we have Raging Bolt by Mitsuke. We have Return of Iron Leaves. This is a card we haven't seen in quite some time. Not since like Temporal Forces, where Charizard was really good. I guess it's like played in Joltik box right now, but not that much. Apart from that, pretty standard Raging Bolt list. Not much new from a new set. It is pretty similar to the list, but just one. Kristen LaBelle's list has the Raging Bolt. It has the Jamming Tower. It has a Ditto. A card you may have seen is the Bidoof. I'm not sure how I feel about the card in this list. I guess it's pretty good if your Raging Bolt gets like entirely shut off by the opponent's Shaman card, because Raging Bolt hasn't been that good in a new format. I guess if they can't find Shaman, it's pretty good, but so right now. Of course, absurd in this format, but not that good going into the next format. Apart from that, not much new either. Well, the Raging Bolt does do pretty well this tournament, even with like its really high meta share. Usually Raging Bolt always is like high meta share and it's terrible, but this event was definitely an outlier. Sorry, ignore my cat over here. I'll go hide her. The next list is a much more straightforward looking Bolt list. This is definitely one I would start with much earlier. Like the Iron Leaves is cool, the Bidoof is cool, probably worth testing. But this is a list that I like the look of them much more. It has a Crispin that, yeah, but both lists have Crispin. This list is just a lot more consistent. Something notable is I don't think Pikachu's being played nearly as much as format. Zero clue why. I think it's pretty good into Rocket's Mewtwo. But Cridon's being the card for choice for most of these decks. They've got the Energy Switch here, and yeah, just a very straightforward, good-looking Bolt list by TGT Hayat. Next, we have, to round off top 16, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 Marnie's Grimmsnarl decks in a row. They're all pretty similar. We have one by Aoshi, one by Amer, and one by, I think, an unknown player. I'm not sure if I got their name. They all pretty much play the exact same counts. Evo, Devo, pretty much all play Defiance Band. Only thing I could notice looking at it is one list is playing Energy Search, the other one's playing Vest, so like the difference is not that much. Something that Ayoshi's list actually plays different from the rest is a Maractus card. It's very normal to see these in these Frostlass, Monkey Dory decks. I'm not exactly sure what the applications are in this meta. It seems pretty good against Gardevoir, because I haven't seen many Churros in these lists. That seems pretty decent. Of course, play Monkey Dory, so you don't care about your opponent's Gardevoir Monkey Dories. Whole idea with this deck is Marnie's Grimmsnarl is a very self-sufficient attacker. The attack's very good. It combos very well with like damage spreading with the second part of the attack. Very consistent. Marnie Stadium is an absurd stadium. You just find like your whole guys, even under Bidoof. Apart from that, it's a pretty basic Monkey Dory Frostlass deck. Honestly, I think this is a very big threat going into NAIC. It doesn't seem that amazing against Raging Bolt, but maybe Raging Bolt just can't like reach the KO on Marnie's Grimmsnarl that often. Yeah, apart from that, it just looks like a very cool looking deck. Actually, the more I'm looking at it, it seems like it's got a pretty good Gardevoir matchup. I'd be very surprised if this had like a bad Gardevoir matchup. It definitely has. I think it's got a pretty good matchup spread in most of the meta, apart from maybe Bolt. Next, because we jumped way into top 8, because so much of top 16 was made up by that Grimmsnarl deck, we have another Eevee box. So, comparison side by side, this one's got Sylveon, which I do quite like, still keeping with Leafeon. It's got Serrano, which is a pretty interesting card in these lists, just because it plays so many X's. Of course, to combo with the Sylveon, you also have Blaziken Fairy. But these lists are a bit less consistent. The power you gain from Sylveon is so immense. Honestly, if I was looking to play an Eevee box deck going to the next format, I would choose to opt for a deck with Sylveon in it. I think Angelite is just like too absurd of an attack to not be using, especially with the brilliance of Dragapult. This also means you can cut Black Belt, which, while cute, I do think that Blaziken Fairy, Sylveon solves most of your damage problems. You've got Jamming Tower to play around Gardevoir. Yeah, it's just like pretty cool deck. Definitely like, I think at least tier 2 when going to a new format, especially with this Leafeon. This Leafeon card is so sick. I'm sorry, I keep mentioning it, but it's so cool. We have, that last was made by Tappy, by the way. Now we have a Bolt list. I'm not sure if I got this player's name. I probably did. I'll just edit in over here. This is another very straight Raging Bolt list. How similar is it to the last list, actually? Let's see. It's got some different support lists. This list is Squawkabilly, pretty important. I've heard rumors, people be saying that Squawkabilly is not the best right now. I'm inclined to believe that. I low-key hate using that card, but it's like, it's here or there. They chose to play the last list chose to play a 4th Ogerpon over the Squawkabilly. I do think there's probably a better consistency card to be playing there. But yeah, just a very straightforward Raging Bolt list. It's playing Palpad as well, but potato tomato is not that much different. So yeah, as you can see, Raging Bolt, I think there's 3 in top 16 already. Pretty good showing. But I think for the first time in Raging Bolt's time, the meta predictions of how powerful it's been has actually been correct. Here we have another Gardevoir list. This Gardevoir list is so cool, by the way. Definitely a lot of inspiration you can take for this format. It has, unfortunately, it still has a double Clefairy and double Screamtail and triple Monkey Dory. I think it's maybe time to start moving away from that. But what it does play is it plays 2 TM Evo, which I don't think is needed, but just play Devo. I think Devo is a really good card. It's probably pretty good in Mirror, especially with how candy heavy Mirror has been mirrored lists are right now. It's pretty good into Polt. I think it probably gives you a bit of a better Grimmsnarl matchup. I wouldn't be surprised because it just seems like you can move like the Frost Ash damage between turns. Yeah, it's a pretty cool meta call. Something really cool is this list has incredible consistency. It's playing Petrol. I guess this is just 6 copies of Arven technically, except you can also find your Artisan and follow-up supporters. While this is incredible consistency, I'm not too sure how much you need this Petrol card. I think probably just stick with the 4. I don't know, that's probably a lot better. Not only is Pearl in this, yeah, actually, the more I'm looking at it, 2AN is like kind of criminal. Probably play 4, I don't know, future list, especially if this list plays no candies, it's going to be a lot slower. Oh my god, wait, 1 CC as well. Okay, this list is on something else. A lot of cool stuff in this list, like the Petrol and the Devo. But if you want to modify this list, I would recommend putting more Counter Catcher and more, I don't know, that seems pretty good right now. Next, we have next to round off top 8, we have another Grimmsnarl list. This Grimmsnarl list looking very similar to the previous ones. Let me try and see if I can find the previous ones. This is an exact 60 copy of the other ones we looked at with Vessel. Not much going on here, just very consistent. One thing I want to bring up is the Defiance Band's a very cool card. They have the application to a lot of the meta. Grimmsnarl can hit 210. If you do play Miraculous from Defiance Band, your Miraculous is hitting for 50 damage, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, I think it's such a cool deck. It's definitely got a very, very, very good Dragapult matchup and a very good Charizard matchup. Just because you're spreading across all this damage across all the guys, you Devo them up in like one big Devo turn, remove the whole board. Well, ooh, not could be cool mistake. I could see like a Giraffe Rig. I would actually like a Giraffe. One with Giraffe Rig, you're playing with Dark Energy already. Maybe you no, Crispin seems kind of terrible. But Giraffe Rig, play it down, they can't do much against it. That sounds terrible, to be honest. Maybe something worth looking into. Something I did actually miss, now looking back at these decks, thanks for the pointer out, Gwen, is, okay, I'm gonna let you pause the video, see if you can miss what I missed by looking at this Gardevoir deck. There is no Drifloon in either of these builds. I think that's probably why Charizard did so well this event. I don't think no Drifloon's that good into Raging Bolt either. Drifloon's a very good card into Raging Bolt, yeah, even with Jamming Tower. Very good card. I don't think Screamtail is really cutting, especially if you're not benching Squawkabilly. This definitely is a card that I would like to see go into future versions. No, Drifloon has been correct a lot in the past. But I think, especially with Shaman, Screamtail doesn't seem that good. That's something that needs testing. But I'd be worrying about cutting Drifloons. I would definitely worry about that. Probably keep them in for now, yeah. Now we have the top 4 result. These are very, very, very surprising. I don't think anyone really expected it going into this weekend. There is not one Charizard, not 2 Charizard, but 3 Charizards. I actually thought this deck's Bolt matchup wasn't best about Raging Charizard. These Charizard players clearly proved me wrong. So yeah, let's get into it. One very cool thing to note is all of these Charizard decks are playing a completely different concept. So we have the first Charizard playing Pidgeot and Dusknoir, another Charizard playing Terapagos, Noctowl, I think, along with Pidgeot as well. And then the third Charizard, our crowning victor, is playing so much cool stuff. We can get into it when we get into it. It's a very, 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 very unique list. So we have the first Charizard list played by Hero. I think the most notable thing one of the most notable things about this is the A-Spec choice, Maximum Belt. Yes, we've got traveled back in the past, back to TEF format. We're now back to this A-Spec. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of it back in Temporal Forces format. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of it now. Probably gives you a lot better mirror matchup. Probably a better Raging Bolt matchup. I could see that. Probably makes Dragapult a bit better, but I still think that matchup's going to be horrible no matter what. Just because like they can just like avoid taking prize cards and just like kill your Pidgeys and stuff. Not the most fun. This list also isn't playing any. Okay, so it's playing Team Evo. It's not playing that many energies, so I feel like a Team Evo isn't that consistent to pull off. Something worth noting. Something very cool, which I very much like about this deck, is it is playing the Cleffa. With no Rotom, I think this card is essential in Charizard right now, especially if you're not playing the Noctowl version. It's back to the Shaman. The Shaman card you're going to be seeing in every single non-Roblox deck from now on. It's a new mana fee, they're back. Apart from that, not much to note. It's just pretty much looking like a pre-rotation Charizard list. We've got the Pidgeot, we've got the 4 rare candies, we've got the Dusknoir. We've got the Jack to play around Badoo. We've got Rescue Board. Not quite sure why that's there. But yeah, apart from that, it's looking just basic and consistent and not more you can ask for. Next, we have a list I haven't seen in a very long time. We have the Charizard, Pidgeot, Terapagos, Noctowl, Dusknoir deck. Made it there eventually. We saw this deck have some success during LAIC. I think it fell off a tiny bit after that, but it's back with force, getting the bronze medal in Aichi. Something to note is it is playing with Jamming Tower, a bit better Gardevoir matchup, can play around Team Devo if your opponent doesn't have like the counter stadium. Something very cool is with Pidgeot, you can use it to bump your own Area 0 if you have like liabilities on the bench. Whether that's Pheasantipity, a damaged Charizard, maybe a Dusko your opponent can easily pick off. Boom, gone. It's playing a Thin Dusknoir line. I think I like this quite a lot. You don't have space for anything more, but Dusknoir is just like a good card to have, even with Psyduck in this format. A new ace spec has entered this list, Prime Catcher. This is another ace spec that I'm not too sure on. I do think it's probably a lot better than Max Belt, but maybe not needed. I'm unsure. Actually, okay, thinking about it, this is better than Max Belt. And I guess the Maractus counter is pretty nice as well. So yeah, you know what? I'm down with Prime Catcher. I'm down with Prime Catcher. This seems like a cool card. This deck was made by Hisa. Oh, something to note, this deck's playing very few Gust options. I guess Prime Catcher kind of evens it out, but yeah. But yeah, this list looks very clean. If you're looking to test this deck, I think this is a very, very, very good starting off list. Next, we have our second place list. Back to Bolt, baby. This is an Iron Leaves deck. Iron Leaves is back. It's playing Slitherwing. It's not, okay. The deck's playing 3 1-prizers, Baby Bolt, Cried, and Slitherwing. I'm not sure if all 3 is needed. It seems pretty cool, but maybe like you can only play 2. That seems fine to me as well. Beef up on my Noctowl line again. That seems pretty good to me. Deck's playing Squawkabilly. Maybe Squawkabilly is just good and I was wrong. Apart from that, it's looking pretty consistent. Yeah, so as I've been saying, Raging Bolt's done pretty well this weekend. I do think Raging Bolt is just a bit better in best of 1. It bricks a lot less. You can just take a lot more like aggressive donks, like capitalize your opponent's like unfortunate starts. I don't think it's going to translate quite as well into a Western NAIC meta, but it is definitely looking to be a force to be reckoned with. Definitely much, much, much better than it's looked in previous formats. And now we move on to the Champions list. So for some reason, as always with Champion Leagues, the Champion deck lists always just look out of this world. Something that would only appear to me in an apparition, maybe like a vision or something. It's playing Monkey Dory. We've got the Chi-Yu in here. We've got the first appearance of a Psyduck, which is pretty interesting. I'm guessing it was very handy in top 4 with the amount of Dusknoir. Dragapult, Charizard. There's a lot going on here. We need to unpack this. So first of all, this is Dragapult Charizard. This deck has been pretty good for a while. Unfortunately, I do think right now it's got a pretty bad Dragapult matchup, which is why it hasn't been like being seen played in like droves. But with this list, you get just the incredible power of Dragapult, but also getting like, I think Charizard was really well positioned for this tournament just because apparently it does have a good Bolt matchup, which definitely added a lot to this deck. Playing the Prime Catcher, which I'm guessing is just going to be the best ace spec in Charizard. I still think Unfair Stamp is definitely something to test, but this Prime Catcher is looking pretty good. Your opponent takes a 1-card prize against you, you Prime Catcher out to Terapagos. Seems pretty good. We've got the Cleffa, which I really like. Of course, we have to talk about the Monkey Dory here. I'm guessing with Charizard, because you've got like just really good energy acceleration, you do just have like a free attachment with Monkey Dory. Oh my god, wait, actually? Okay, because we're playing the free Luminous and no energy surge, then the Monkey Dory actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, but I've taken back all my opinions. This deck is really cool. Monkey Dory makes perfect sense. We've got the Chi-Yu. I know Chi-Yu's used right now this format for Golden Go. I didn't see Golden Go be that popular this format, so I'm guessing it might be a good 1-prize attacker. I'm not sure how needed it is, but it probably has its uses as like a 1-prize attacker, and maybe it's got like a really good attacker into something I'm not aware of. We've got Double Evo, which I do think is much better in this deck than it was in the previous deck, as we are playing a grand total of 9 energy in this deck. We've got a card that I think should be in so many decks right now. We've got this Watchtower card. So what it does is it means that your opponent's Noctowl, Pidgeot, any guys, Squawkabilly, any Pokemon that are normal type, bang, ability's gone, bang, useless. This card is very, very, very cool. I'm guessing that's why they won so many matchups right now. Like, I'm pretty sure if you go back, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like 10 out of this top 16 decks all had like normal type Pokemon in it, whether it's Pidgeot or Noctowl. Squawkabilly. Yeah, so I think this deck was a very, 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 very good meta call. Very deserved win. The Monkey Dory is really good. The combination here is really good, especially because I feel like this deck loses to Dusknoir quite frequently, but I think the Psyduck solves that. Might not be as good for NAIC because I don't think we've got the Psyduck, unfortunately, but for Worlds, definitely potential to look out for. And just a general piece of advice, this Watchtower is definitely a pretty good card. I like it a lot. I think it should be played like a lot more than it is being played right now. Might be seeing it in Gardevoir with Secret Box, who knows. So that is going to be rounding out the top 16 decks. Going back to the tier list, which you can probably see right here, or here, I don't know where it can be placed. I think this was a pretty accurate meta showing. Our Caledon Raiden did very bad this tournament. I'm guessing that's just because like the sheer amount of like Charizard did well. These are like probably pretty bad matchups. Golden Good did pretty bad this matchup. Martin's Grimmsnarl, we saw a lot of really good players. We saw Haru on Martin's Grimmsnarl like making that top 8. I think this deck was a very cool play for this tournament. Something that would not be surprised to see do very well in NAIC. Gardevoir is always doing well. It's not fell off at all. It's going to be good forever and ever and ever. Just have to accept it. Or hopefully. Raging Bolt actually living up to its success. We saw it being very popular this event, but I think it actually took up, hold on, we can do a count now. It took up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots in top 16, which I think is actually pretty representative of like where the meta. I think it's like a very good conversion getting to top 16. Positive conversion to top 16, which is pretty surprising for Bolt. I think maybe the first time ever. But yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. This was very fun to film. Hopefully gonna be going to Champions League at some point within the next year. Registration is so hard to get into. I'm gonna say my piece now. If you want to play Champions League, get ready to not get in for like your first like maybe like 1 or 2 tries, because it's definitely very hard to get into. Definitely much harder than Arcane 9 ever is. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how this meta develops in future city leagues. With NAIC, online tournaments when the new set comes out. This meta is looking pretty healthy. I'm very excited to see how it looks with Shaman. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I know we have a lot more good content coming for this event. We have a Garchomp video, which is a deck I'm very excited about. We have Marnie's Grimmsnarl, which, looking at the success of this format, I think the success it has so far this format rather, seems to be a very good watch. I'd recommend watching that when it comes out. Speaking of Gardevoir, I have a very good idea on the horizon. I'm going to be updating my Gardevoir guide soon, so I'd also watch out for that as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!